boat trips. And honestly, it would look on video like easy work, but yesterday, you know, there's a travel time in between. So yesterday I had to get from Antibes. I had to cancel the morning trip because I had a nightmare getting into Antibes port the night before. Here's the boat. We docked in a Port Pierre Canto last night. When I got in, the problem with the battery again. I don't want to say that, but I think I can probably solve it. I need to add a second one, and I was going to do that now, but it's all the way around there. The battery's heavy and the bike's buried because I've had to throw everything inside the boat to do the boat trip. I wish there was a way I could get an angle of this from over there, because I'm here on the end of like the welcome pontoon, but then you have these two big boats and my boat just looks tiny. But I've got about 10 minutes till the next one. I'm still in the middle of trying to clean up from last night's one. Should do it in Ferry like during the night, but the fireworks end. I didn't get back into the port until, you know, gone midnight, and then I had to try like plug the battery in, but I was doing it in the dark with a torch. Anyway, I don't know what the problem is. I feel like I'm getting paranoid too, and feels like the floor has static, and it probably doesn't, but yeah. Back to back, so I've got one at 10 o'clock today until 6, then I pick one up at 6, then tomorrow same sort of story I think, but I even need to I've had requests for bookings, but today on this one, it's a daytime one, so I'm going to get them over to the middle of the islands, anchor up, and then catch up with who's booked what, because I'm losing track, which probably isn't a bad thing, but kind of a lot all at once, I guess. But yeah, because you end up with like 6 people on the boat, and the mess is just crazy in the end. And then, you know, when I've got a bit of time to prepare for one, that's okay, but like this one I'm really struggling because the floor's still, something's leaking in there, and the floors are wet in the toilet, which this daytime one I'm doing discounted-ish kind of for a friend, so should be just spray air freshener everywhere and pretend everywhere's not a mess. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go because I've got 8 minutes. Right, so welcome to another episode. I know I'm recording this in the middle of it, but it's just to explain what's going on here, because the episode started on the 16th. I've had to go and jog my memory of what actually happened during this time. So yeah, the footage you've just seen was on the 16th in the daytime. The night before that, I had a firework trip in Cannes, and when I arrived just outside, before I could pick everyone up, there was a whole big scenario, which I'm going to later on do a video about the boat trips, just one episode all about them, because trying to fit it all in now was quite difficult. But I just arrived outside the port, and a big line of fireworks, and I'm sure I can find the footage somewhere because it was taken on a phone, which I no longer have, normal story, but I think I sent it to someone, so if I look hard enough I can probably find it to show you. Not sure I want to, because I was having a big old argument with like the say police boat. I don't think it was the police, but like some patrol boat, because they've put a big line of fireworks out and they're not actually marked with buoys where the line of fireworks actually are. So yeah, they had the no swim buoys, but the fireworks was this side of that. So obviously anyone swimming knows not to pass it, and I know not to go past the buoys, but on my side of that there's a big line of fireworks in the water. I had half an idea that there'd be fireworks somewhere because I'd been doing the trips around there, but while I was outside waiting for everyone to come, I was just drifting a little bit. I weren't drifting anyway, I was just waiting, and the next minute Pal boat comes over shouting at me, we have a big argument. Then I go pick the people up, and then firework trips, I think you've seen in the previous episode a bit of footage of one. They were quite stressful, like there was just a lot of go. You'd go over to you'd pick up in the port where they wouldn't let you pick up from, so you end up having an argument with a guy at the fuel dock. Then you take the people that you've picked up over to the little island, the Lerins Island. Quickly, then everyone would try eat or whatever, but then you'd try rush back to get back in time for the fireworks. So many boats, as you've seen probably in a previous video. The fireworks stop, and then there's absolute pandemonium going on. It's late by then too, and you're just trying to make sure you can get back. So that was on the night of the 15th, before the footage you'd just seen. So on that night, I'd have dropped off, gone back out over to anchor. No, sorry, on that night, went into the port, but they didn't want to let me stay in the end. I was like, oh, my engine won't start. I'm staying. I didn't want to go out, not be able to start the engine in the morning to do the trip the next day. So that then takes you to the 16th, what you've just seen. Day trip on the 16th over to the Lerins Islands. Came back, dropped them off, begged the woman at the welcome dock. Luckily there was this maybe an apprentice that was probably looking for a yacht job somewhere and was just actually had a bit of work. I was like, please can I go to the supermarket dead quick? So she did let me run to the supermarket. Got the next lot on, went back over to the Lerins Islands, dropped them back off around 11, and then at 11 o'clock the port they weren't going to let me stay again, so I was like, right, okay, back up, I need to go back out. So I'd leave the port at 11 o'clock at night in the dark, back over to Ile de Lerins, which still takes about an hour to get over there. Get back over there at 12 o'clock, put the anchor down. And eventually I'm going to find a way better to explain all of this, and you'll see a bit of it at the end of this video. But at 12 o'clock, when you just dropped the anchor down, I had some other stuff going on, my head was all over the place, and I had to do this just to make some money. I know I'm making it sound really extreme, but I weren't really ready to be doing boat trips. I knew I could do them safely enough. I didn't didn't use the sails or anything, but the boat itself was quite hard to get ready every time. You always worry about what people thought of the boat. Most people, I'd say, and the reviews I got was pretty good, but yeah, I was always a bit worried about, was the boat, how it looked and everything else, would people be satisfied with what they paid, etc, etc. So yeah, dropped them off 12 o'clock at night. The following morning I then had to get back over, and the engine wouldn't start in the morning. So the trip that I then had on the 17th, so the day after this, I after doing three back-to-back trips, basically, the night, the day, the night, now back to the day, the engine wouldn't start. So the people ring up, I'm like, if I can get it there sorted, I'm just waiting for the sun to come and charge the battery. They was like, okay, well, we really want to go, and I was like, I tell you what, if I can get there before 12, we can still do the trip, and I'll just charge you half the price. So by that point, I'm not even making that much money from doing it, but I didn't want to let anyone down. Did that trip. I'm going to say it was a nightmare, because it weren't a nightmare, but one of them messing around. I don't know who watches this, but on the back platform, one of them trapped the finger underneath the ladder, and then it's like a big drama about that. So dropped them off, and then I had to go all the way over to Nice for a trip the following morning. So I had to use that little nighttime interval to get over there. At this point, I was still really just going with the engine. So to get from where I was then at Cannes over to Nice, it took quite a while to get over there. Yeah, and by the time I didn't make it all the way to Nice. I decided to just cut in and go to the airport. But on my way over there, you could see in the distance over the top of Nice, just a massive thunderstorm in the mountains, and I'm just looking at it thinking, please don't be coming this way. It weren't forecast to be coming this way, but it looked close and it looked horrible. So yeah, by then I got into Laurent de Var, so just before the airport.
got into port there, rang up, they said they had a place. Couldn't find a place for ages when I got there. By the time I was tied up and stuff again, it was like probably around about 11 o'clock at night, maybe a little bit later. Tied up. Then I had to like clean the boat and everything from the trip that I'd done on the day. Then to sleep. Got up in the morning, planning to go get out. Then they had an issue with the port. They just when I arrived, there was nowhere to go pay, so I had to wait till they opened up. So then I ended up being late to the next day's trip that was doing from Nice. Had a nightmare going around the. I didn't take into account that there'd be like a big part you needed to go around, because obviously planes land there. Went around that, took a lot longer than expected. Went and did the day trip in Nice, which I'll tell you a bit about that later in this video. But yeah, so this picks up now after all of that and doing the next boat trip in Nice. I know it's chaotic. I thought about not putting it there and just doing an episode of what it was like, but then it won't be as real because this is real time on what was happening. So next up, I'm in Nice port.
Wondering where I am. I'm a pirated my way into Nice port for the night. I did a boat trip yesterday from Nice to Villefranche-sur-Mer. It was really nice there, so I will go back there and show you. But on the way back, got back really late, got back in about 10, and on the way back the engine, I think there might have been air in it, and it just kept cutting back down, so I'm in there with like the spanner and stuff. And I've got another boat trip today, but I'm going to be really late, I think. But yeah, I didn't want to go back out, I didn't have that much. I think my alternator's not working. I didn't want to go back out because, you know, it would have been got to manoeuvre around the airport, which I'll show you when I get going past it on my way back now. But I'm hoping, because I didn't rerun the engine as high, because I just wanted to get back in without a problem, but I need to go now quick before I get caught. So the plan is, because I've tied the weird way, is I'm going to loosen that line off, take that one off, then I'm going to take the front off and give myself a big push, and then hopefully I can get beyond that. But it's there. I had to like pull it in, it took me a while to get it in, but yeah, that's the plan. I'm loose and on the way out. I don't know what the consequences are for staying in a port without, probably not good, but I don't know what you can do. Like, you just get told that they're full all the time. I think I've been to ones and they haven't been full. Like, that's been the biggest thing this summer, is ports just not letting me in, basically. So I've started just doing what I need to do. So, you know, if someone had come last night and said you can't be there, my thing that I do now is I just say something's not working and I need to stay here, because I was speaking to a guy who works on charterboard. He's a skipper basically, and he was saying, no, like, if something's not working and you need to go in a port, you should go into the port regardless of what they're saying. So there is this grey area of, because I believe, you know, if I've got a problem, I should be able to go into a port, especially if you can find somewhere to hook up. And if that was the case, I wouldn't mind paying. I've done it the other day in the port near Cannes that just don't let me in there anymore, because I had a bit of an argument with them, because they was being rude, to be honest. And now every time I ask for a place, they just say no. And I've been in the dinghy and seen that they've got loads of places. But yeah, if that was the case, don't mind paying. But the problem is, if you ask and then you get told no, then if you come in after asking and being told no, that's a bit harder. So I don't know. If it had come last night and said you're not meant to be here, I'd have said, well, I've got to stay, something won't work. Said the engine won't come on. So, and then I would have gone in and paid in the morning, but you've got to do what you got to do, haven't you? So I'm gonna get out of here, port, get get far enough away and then try put the engine on a bit fuller. There was like, I've got like one of them little bulbs that's added to it, and that was like flat, and so I opened up the thing on the top of the filter to see if I could get any potential air out, and it was then pumping. But as I say, yesterday I didn't want to start it again. Didn't want to put it on because then it would die out completely, and then I'd have to go inside and try and reset it all. So I'm going to wait till I've got far enough out and then try it and hope it works. If not, I'm going to have to cancel my 2 boat trips that I've got today and tomorrow and go maybe into St. Laurent de Var because it's the closest port that might have a space, and try to get it fixed. But you know, then I'm losing money. I'm not sure today what I'm going to do with this one because I got in so late last night. I'm going to be late now to this one. I did plan on getting up at like 3 o'clock and setting off then, but in the end I didn't want to, you know, I was tired anyway. I'd done like back-to-back trips. Oh, he was telling me the ferry's coming in. This happened last night. They really should have like some traffic light system if ferries are coming in, because the guy just came shouting at me. I was out of the way of the ferry, but he's now going to want me to speed up, and if I speed up I've got to turn around and go back in. But if I do that and the engine cuts out, I'm going to be in the middle of this channel with it. But I can see him now coming back around, starting to get angry because I've not sped back in. But either way, I can only go so fast. The same thing happened last night, and I was out of the way of it, and to be honest, I could have got in past it, which obviously I didn't, but you couldn't tell whether it was coming or going. There were no lights on it to say whether it was coming or going, and then when I did notice it was moving, I went and got out of its way. But the guy came past in the boat screaming at me like, accelerate, accelerate. Nightmare. It's a big, I knew it was going to end up coming just as I was trying to leave. So my great escape now is going to be an issue, because anyone who did see me leaving is now going to see me coming back in, and I've tried to leave without paying, so I'm going to be in trouble. Probably the same ferry that nearly ran me over yesterday. Maybe that is a traffic light, that's a red light, but I'm going to have to learn this if I'm going to start having to mess around with ferries. I probably should know already. Probably don't want to get hit by it. This is going to take ages. Returning to the scene of the crime. I need to remember to look, because there must be a way to pull yourself out to know whether that's coming in or not. I knew it was going to be just my luck, but I guess you could check the times of the ferry maybe, but I don't know if that would tell you what time they were coming in. But I hope nobody sees me. Oh man. I'm going to be even later now, so I'm probably going to have to cancel this trip today, but I've put loads of time, like really tried to make these boat trips as good as I can, and I'm all just worried by, you know, cancel one and then the bad review. I could have been around that corner quite easily before that ferry came in. It was the same yesterday, and now I'm not thinking I'm more important than the ferry, because I know I'm not, but not really this morning's one. I wish I had some footage of the guy yesterday absolutely screaming, but I was like, there was definitely nothing going on with the lights yesterday. You just had your normal red and green one by the entrance, and the ferry looked like it was stationary to start with. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously, the ferry's got to go at some point, but I don't know now when I'm allowed. Like, how do I know when I can set off? I don't know. Well, just tried to leave, but the ferry's coming in to go to Corsica. Or back from Corsica. This is Port Olympia in Nice. I don't really like big city ports. It's like, I can see the shower block over there, and it looks it's like literally in the town centre, so walking, I don't know. Not sure I like it. But yeah, it's nice. Right, there's a boat over there, so hopefully let's just follow him, and when he thinks it's alright to go out, I'll go out. This boat behind me takes up half the port to the side of that. It's unnecessary. That's almost as big as the ferry. So there is some red lights, so it is me. But as I set off, I don't think that red light was on and flashed. So I don't know if the guy comes in and activates the red lights, because he came in, jumped off the little boat, so maybe he activates the red lights. But I didn't know, so I'm not pretending I did. Red fender in the water. Do we want a red fender? Is it worth messing around trying to get this? Oh, I just was about to say the red lights stopped. But it's back on. Is that fishing boat going out? Other boats are going. So it was on. Is it going to go back on? He's going. It must take a while for a ferry to disembark. It's a big old ferry. I hope my highly slow boat can get out before that wants to then leave, because otherwise that will be a problem, because I won't get to be able to quickly fly around. Shall we get the ferry to Corsica? That way we might make it there this summer. So this autopilot is working, but the issue I have is the little like bit that the motor goes onto, the little cog comes off. It seems to be if it goes, it's a bit of a big wave and it's got to do a fairly big adjustment, that keeps coming off. Try it again now and see if it doesn't, but I don't know how I would get it to stay on, and I can't find any video on YouTube on how to do it either. But yeah, I've got to go all the way over there. The motor so far, I've gradually going to put it a bit higher. It could be that yesterday, you know, when I've got some people on board, then, you know, and if they catch the lever, maybe it got pushed into like the above, and I did on the way actually go higher than I normally go, so not that 15. So I don't know, see how we get on. Maybe it's sorted, hopefully. Yeah, the boat at the minute, like I've said before, but it feels like it's going backwards sometimes, especially since doing these trips. Feel the boat falling around behind me. I've been doing these trips in the last week, like back to back, like in the space of 1 week. It would have been like 13, about 11 trips. But then obviously I finished some in Cannes, not yesterday, the day before, but then in the night time I went from Cannes then down to the airport in Nice, but I didn't really realise how much I was going to have to go around the airport yesterday to get into Nice. So because I keep being late as well, that's not, well, it's not good, but you know, I was late yesterday. I just tried to make sure I took them out for as long as I could then, so got in quite late. But had I not got in late, I would have set, if it was about 6, I think I would have set off and got over here in time, well, last night, because I don't know, but it'd be nice if the autopilot just stays on. It'll go wrong when, like everything, passing boat goes and creates a massive wake. I don't know what this plane's doing, but it's low. I'm outside of the area I'm not allowed to be in, but literally, if it gets any lower, is he going to land that side? Can't be. You probably can't even see it. I'm probably just showing you the sky. Anyway, that's the current situation. The engine needs a proper looking at. Had to message and cancel the trip. Not had a reply yet, but I don't really like letting people down when I've said I'm going to do something. You know, people have been looking forward to that, and then on the day finding out they can't do it. Like the last two I'd done, under not ideal. I'm not saying they weren't safe to do. Like it weren't a case of things like the engine weren't working on the last ones, but I mean, timing wise and stuff, trying to get from one to the other, and yeah. But I don't really like letting people down either, and now I'm just waiting for the reply, and then I'm going to have to see if I can get into one of them two ports, and maybe if I can get it fixed today, I can not cancel the other ones maybe, and I probably can get it fixed, I'd say. I feel like the problem is air's got in there, but yeah, maybe I probably can, hopefully, touch wood, but yeah, it's just going to be a long way over there now, because it's about 5, 6 maybe miles away, and I can only do like 1 point. I can literally idle. If I put it in anymore, it just stalls, is the word, maybe. A bit like it was doing way back at the beginning of the year, but you know, up until now it's run alright. But I guess its days are probably fairly numbered. It needs a new engine and a new rig, and still probably a new Genoa as well. But yeah, it was good because I was making some money, and that was being able to put it back in the boat and stuff. But I was also balancing like what I needed to pay for, you know, to try to do the boat trips, and obviously I had the ones that I had booked. Yeah, I don't know. I need to go into a port, get the engine sorted, so I can hopefully do the other boat trips I've got booked. But it's just going to take ages to get into the port now. But luckily I've set off quite early, so I've got to go right around it in case it's stalled. I don't want to be in that no-go zone with low-flying aircraft, because then we will have an even bigger problem. Luckily the sea's flat too, like, because if not, it would be fairly uncomfortable going slow. The morning was going quite well. The autopilot, the little motor did eventually, the little cog eventually came off. So I need to find out why that's coming off. But before that, the boat was going 3.5 knots with the autopilot, and the sea was fairly flat, and I was sat up at the front thinking it's nice up here, and then everything's gone back to this. But we'll get it sorted. Maybe it's the fuel, because I've got overwood. But I went into idling and it went off, and it looked like there was fuel in there, but the boat was rocking a little bit. But I've done more distance than I've done before, so you know, I always go do a trip and then top up a bit of diesel so that it doesn't run out.
I don't actually have a gauge for it. But yesterday when when the engine started doing it, I went to pump it after I had more fuel and the pump was stuck, and that's what so I fixed that as well. Like, I got the air out and then it would pump again, and then I didn't run it fully yesterday after that. This morning I've run it fully, and then it was running, and then, but I think just maybe I've just confused about like distances and just run out of fuel, like maybe, because as I say, maybe every other time, because I've been topping it up, it's probably not actually run out, and there's always been quite a bit left in the tank every time I top it up. But I've covered quite a few not miles, whatever, recently, so maybe the tank's just got low again. So what I'm doing now, because I've put it back on, it's not dying back down, and because when it stopped working, I've put it into idling. Yeah, it's idled me fairly slowly over here, but very slowly it would stop doing all the stages. So maybe it was just the fuel after all, and then obviously some air got in yesterday and I've probably fixed it, and now I've cancelled the trip. What time is it? It's 10:07, but I won't get there now until like 7, 8, 9, 10, but I haven't been really moving at all for the last hour and a half, so the people have said that they might reschedule anyway, so maybe I go get in a port and I have a reset, because the last few days have been fairly hectic, and all that's happening now is I'm not ready to do the trips while I'm trying to do them, and then I'm having to like refund parts so I can stay out for longer. So maybe if I go into the port, have a full reset and get the boat sorted again, because it's a mess in there, and I need to fix that front roller because it's snapped off the furler at the bottom now too, so I need to do that. Oh, busy. Right, ring the port and see if they've got a place. If I can get in a port nice and early today. The issue today is it's really hot. Like, it's only 10 o'clock and already it's boiling hot. So do I need to go into a port? Is it a waste of money? I don't know. Baie des Anges Marina, hands down the best port like there is around here. It looks horrible. There's all them big silly buildings, but they're just really friendly, and every other one isn't like. I don't think I can do September here. I'm editing, well, I've been editing it'll be episode 29, so ages ago probably, but I'm just behind, I've mentioned before. Editing that video, and then I'm trying to imagine what's happened in the meantime, and everything's a little bit of a blur, to be honest. I've got here where I am now, where I've been for ages, other than like dotting around a little bit, and I feel like I ain't getting anywhere. Genuinely, like, I sometimes look back at some of the videos to try like motivate myself, and I think back to like how the boat was when I left in like episode 2 or what, yeah, episode 2, to go to Saint-Tropez. I had more of a working boat then than I seem to have now, so And I know the reason for it all. I haven't been doing all of this. I'm recording this now because I don't do it, and then I've got to try and like think back, but I've got to just be honest. And the summer, you know, the months that have passed, have done stuff, but I've said it before probably, I'm just also just trying to be okay, and there's no quick like thing on that. And you know, every time I say something like this, I know that I'm risking people thinking you're being soft, like what, but the bit I just recorded of me walking around the front of the boat before this, felt silly to record it because then seems like I'm trying to create drama, but that is what I've spent most of my day doing. I've been awake since about 6 o'clock, couldn't really sleep last night, and had to cancel a boat trip the other day, got back, and then that busy period of doing a few boat trips and that being what I had to do kind of ends, and then I'm back to this spot thinking, what now? And the Genoa, well, the forced stay is a real big stress at the minute because it's unsafe. I think the engine's going to be alright. The engine cut out whilst I was doing a boat trip the other day, but I think it was a fuel issue, as in there weren't enough fuel in, and then it just took me some time to get the air out, but I think that's okay now. But today, this morning, all I've been thinking is that, you know, I put the motor on and get out of this spot, but I've also got a long stretch of coastline in the direction of, like, if I was to head down towards Spain, where I've got to go back to all them familiar places, and I don't really want to go do that without sailing. And until I get the boat taken out and probably get the mast taken down and fix whatever's going on up there, I don't know how I'm going to. I can't go to Corsica with the rig in the state it's in, and everything points towards trying to stay here a bit longer and make some money, but things happen. And then I need to, you know, that sense of moving in the earlier episodes was probably what was kind of keeping me losing my mind, I guess. But and then maybe the last month doing the boat trips did a bit, but I don't know. You know, I've been thinking all morning, that's why I've just been editing the video, that I need this YouTube thing, was something I was really serious about doing for the bigger reason as well. But then sometimes I feel like I don't know how to do that, so but I want to go, and I'm trying to be motivated to do the bits, but there's quite a lot of bits, and some of them aren't easy bits, like this rigging thing. My plan is I'm going to take it's bent down there, I'm going to take that off, try and hammer it straight again, the bit that the drum fits onto, and see if I can get it tight enough and still be able to use a sail, but I shouldn't use that in any strong winds, but that's going to be better than not. I don't know. I really don't know. But I've got to do something, so I'm going to go. Sometimes I really don't want to go to land as well, and like I've got to. I seem to get there and I'm off the boat for like 20 minutes, and then I'm like, I need to go back onto the boat. It's just, I don't know. Obviously I'm not doing alright, am I? And most of the time I do manage to not put that in videos, but then that also is why there's then big black holes of no recording, because when I'm like this morning, I don't go put the camera on and have it filming me all day while I'm wandering around the front of the boat and looking all lost and confused.
but if I don't put it in there, none of this makes sense, I guess. So I've got to try to be honest, because that's the thing that kind of motivates me to do it. So yeah, from today onwards I'm gonna try and make a big effort to make sure I am recording properly, and the boat trips obviously got in the way of that, and I found that quite hard because I weren't doing what I really wanted to be doing. I was just selling cheap boat trips, and with it did come, there was some good experiences from doing it, but also some of them were quite hard for various reasons. And you know, I'm just wandering around now talking to a camera, and wonder which thing to do first sometimes, and then in the wondering what to do, if there's a lot, you end up, or I end up, not really doing anything. There's been jellyfish too, so go in the water because I'm scared now of getting stung by a jellyfish. And I saw someone got stung the other day, and it didn't look nice. I was starting to believe that it didn't sting, but it turns out it do. So alright, so yeah, we'd gone from Nice, and then right at the end of this video you see that I'd gone into Baie des Anges Marina for a little bit, a few days, had a bit of a wobble there. Then I went to Antibes and pulled the boat up to go do the next boat trip after the one I had to cancel the next day, and it was a nightmare, but I'll say more about that when I do the episode about the boat trips just generally. But yeah, they basically just was like, we don't want to go now. It's like, just nightmare, but I won't get into that now because this video is already quite long. So after that, back around to the familiar place I'd been all the summer, and that was then kind of the end of the boat trips. I didn't necessarily know it at the time, but it was to be the end of the boat trips. The one in Nice was the last one I did, I think. So yeah, then I was back there, and yeah, just back to, I really didn't like being in that spot the whole summer. But there I was again, like, just what to do now? Do I wait it out through September? And I think what I would say at the end of this episode, I'd really like to, I could have just not put that end part in. This has been a few days of me and ahhing what to put on, what not to put on, etc. In the end, I've just put on the whole video. I'd quite like to just show me in Nice, and then at the end be like, yeah, I made this much during the boat trips and everything, after not really knowing what I was going to do. But one thing I would say is, you know, you never really know what somebody's got going on. So what might on the outside look really great, like, because every day I'd have people while doing the boat trips on the boat, like, telling me that I was lucky and all of this, but me myself, I didn't feel great, so that was quite difficult, but I knew I just had to do it. So what happened was there was that busy period, it weren't that long, like a week of just boat trips, and then it ended, and then there was just a bit of a crisis. So I thought I'd just put it in because it's what really happened. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'm trying to keep this quite short because the episode's already quite long. But that's the realities of trying to what was going on at the time. So that takes us up to now, probably coming towards the end of August. Well, nearly the end of August. So see you in the next episode, which is a lot more positive than this episode. Thanks for watching.